Evan, Dave said that he was always going to bring you in for the ninth inning. How did you prepare yourself during that hour-plus rain delay?
I can't remember who asked me about it, but it's just mostly just how I treat the rest of the game. Just try not to get too high, don't get too low, don't, come in here and assume the game's over. Don't over-prepare or do extra because I think it's going to be me or anything like that. Kind of just wait for the word, and then, when that time comes, prep how I always do.
What was the chess match between you and Olson? Did you feel like even if you walk him, you still got Murphy on deck?
Yeah, mostly. Getting behind that guy, I'm definitely not trying to just get back into the count with anything passive like that. I still want to make very intentful pitches, and I think I did that. I made it close, but like you said, with the righty behind him, a guy I feel like we can get out. More often than not, we trust that process.
Did you have any doubts that you would be here in this position after being hurt in the World Series and going through the whole process?
I never really had that kind of long-term mindset with it. I fully expected to get back to this position, and I'm very grateful that the process went smooth. Just happy to be back and be a part of this team, and have great wins like this one.
How dialed are you right now for where you want to be, especially coming in, jumping right back into leverage spots?
I feel like I'm in a good spot. I think part of that's due to the relatively extensive rehab. Doing more, doing the back-to-backs, 2 out of 3s, getting to a higher pitch count in my innings, and being very, focused on what I'm trying to do down there. Focusing on executing certain pitches that I'm going to need when I got back here. So definitely more than ready, to be back here. I was more than ready, so I think that's helped, kind of jump right back into the spot I left off.
What's it been like watching Yamamoto sort of have this start of the season that he's had?
He dominated today, and I feel like it wasn't even the best version of Yama, which is crazy. The guy, when you talk about routine and work ethic and, the talent, this guy's, one of the best in the game for sure. It's fun to watch.
What do you do in here when you have an hour to get ready for a save opportunity?
So kind of just hang out, played games on my phone for a little bit, and like I said, just not get too high, get too low. Stayed loose here and there just to make sure I didn't get too stiff, but nothing too crazy.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.